name is Nelson, and welcome to this week's Master Coaches Weekly Buzz and our after show, Buzz Reaction, both hosted by John Foreman. Our most recent interviews with NCSA Event Partnership Director Sue Weber and Sam Walensky, recruiting coordinator for My Recruiting Solution, provided us great advice into how COVID has been disrupted the normal recruiting process for volleyball athletes, families, and college recruiters. Our newsflash: Minnesota moved their high school season back this fall beginning September 28th. Now that the NCAA D1 committee has pushed the dead period until January 1, 2021, how will this affect the high school and club tournament schedules? To stay up on high school changes, go to nfhs.org, and for junior clubs, go to jbavolleyball.org. Check out coachesinsider.com as their recent post, an athletic director discusses how to return to play when an athlete tests positive. Did you know Brian Gemolero had Debbie Green and Rita Crockett, members of the 1984 women's silver medal team, as assistants at Long Beach State? Barbara Tutsi participated in 3 NCAA regional semifinals while coaching the women's team at Tennessee, and Mick Haley, while at Texas, had 9 Southwest Conference 10-0 records and 13 Southwest Conference titles. All will be asking our guests the format of the 2021 D1 Spring NCAA tournament, as well as insights into the first ever AVCA virtual convention and why every coach should have an AVCA membership. First, let's go to former Olympic coach Mick Haley, who will introduce our guest today. Mick?
Before I introduce our guest, did you know Ruth Nelson has 557 collegiate wins at 3 institutions, Houston, LSU, and Iowa. Not only did she play on the national team, but she was assistant coach on the national team and is now developing youth volleyball with her BYOP program, Bring Your Own Parent, and her Go Kids Youth Sports Certification Program. Ruth, you didn't get off that easy this time. It's my pleasure to introduce our AVCA Executive Director, Kathy DeBoer, today, who is really our czar of collegiate volleyball. And I'm going to start calling her that because she is the one person that we can get information from in this country and is not afraid to speculate on what could happen. And it's a real pleasure to have her here today. She was a dual sport athlete at Michigan State University and played for our USA Junior National Team and our national team, and was a very good professional basketball player in her time. I drove in a snowstorm for about 4 hours to watch her play in Milwaukee one time, which was quite encouraging because I had Mary Jo Pepler playing and a number of other people who were volleyball people. Kathy was also head volleyball coach at Ferris State University, I think. If it's not university, it was college at one time in Michigan, as well as the head coach at the University of Kentucky before she became the associate athletic director at Kentucky. Welcome, Kathy.
Thank you. Great to be with you again.
Thank you. I'm going to jump right into this because we got a lot of things to cover today, but the AVCA has been a leader through this pandemic like we've never seen, and it's been quite a challenge, I know, for you and your staff to get to this point. And you guys have been really the ones that jumped in with both feet and helped us get a championship for the spring. So without any more talking around this, can you tell us about this championship, and how much can you tell us about this championship that we hear is going to happen now in the spring, and maybe win too?
Yeah, for sure. Yes, so it's the NCAA championship, and yes, the AVCA lobbied, but I want to give credit where credit is due in that there were a lot of conference commissioners that we reached out to, athletics directors that we reached out to, and coaches saying, hey, will you go to your AD? Mary Wise talked to her AD and saying, will you support here a broader based championship than what was originally proposed? The NCAA originally proposed 50% of the field, which would take the field from 64 to 32 in Division I. that got expanded to 48. And so 32 would have just been toxic for our community because there would have been so many teams that would have been left out. Either some automatic bids would have been left out or some deserving at-large teams would have been left out. So it's still a 25% reduction, but now it is 48 teams. Every conference will get the one automatic bid, and there will be 16 at-large teams that are also going to get to participate. So that's down from 32 at-larges, but it's 16. The timing of it is April 4th is Selection Sunday, and then the next 3 weeks are set for the championship, although the format is still somewhat under review by the committee, and it will depend to a certain extent on where we are with testing and what needs to happen with testing. So that's what we know at this point in time.
Well, Kathy, how about, some of these conferences that aren't playing? All right, how's that going to affect, the automatic qualifiers and or the at-large? Will the at-large go up or?
Yeah. Well, so right now it looks as if everyone is going to play either a fall schedule or a spring schedule. So there are 4 conferences playing this fall. The ACC, the SEC is playing a split schedule. The Big 12 is playing this fall, their entire schedule, and the Sun Belt is playing this fall. The other 28, they don't have a schedule set yet, but now that the championship is in the spring, we're anticipating they're going to put together a spring schedule.
How do you do if somebody will go by their fall record? Is that what you're saying? And some will go by the spring. And how does the RPI figure into that? Or are they going to have an RPI?
Yeah, it's all, we're not sure right now because many conferences have said we're only going to play a conference schedule. And so now obviously everybody's RPI is 50-50. I mean, because you don't have any out of conference play. So the NCAA committee is saying to coaches right now, if you can have some out of conference play, please do it. And some are scheduling that. They can't start competition until January 22nd, but the 22nd and the 29th, conference coaches are looking to have those be non-conference matches as a possibility.
Is it still 32 or 28 playing dates?
Yeah, it is, but the season has shrunk. I mean, it's only about 10 or 11 weeks now, and so
right.
we don't think there's very many that are going to get 28 playing dates in.
Okay.
So
Bob, what's the site of the tournament?
Right now, it looks like it's going to be Omaha, Nebraska. That has not been announced yet, but you can't get a hotel room there in the weekend of the 23rd to the 25th of April. And so we think somebody knows that it's that weekend, but that's where we think it's going to go. And the NCAA staff is still working out the details.
And are they going to allow spectators?
Well, again, that's going to depend on the virus. Where are we with it at that point in time? How much herd immunity is there, if there is? Where are we with the vaccine and how readily available is it? So that's a place where you probably don't need me doing a lot of speculating. I will, but you probably don't need it.
Well, which brings us to the idea of testing. You mentioned it. Is there anything specific about what the NCAA is suggesting for testing, and what are the guidelines if somebody gets sick? Are we going by the NCAA guidelines?
They're coming out with Dr. Brian Hainline, who's been the NCAA voice on this, is coming out with a new set of recommendations this Friday. But I guess I would hesitate to, because we're coming out with these every couple months, every 6 weeks, we're going to be just in a way different place come April. What they're trying to do right now is get basketball reopened and say, here's what we're looking at for testing protocols. But we're hearing things as often as 3 times a week for student athletes. We're hearing things about bubbles. It's going to be one of those. We're just going to have to see how functionally we learn to live with this virus as we go into the winter. and spring.
Well, I guess it leads one more question, and that is cost of testing. You know, is anybody of schools are going to inherit this cost? Is the NCAA going to help once the tournament begins? You hear anything there?
Yeah, the NCAA will be doing the testing around the tournament. And that is actually the reason, Brian, that Division II and III canceled their fall championships completely. The cost of the testing, even in the spring, they felt was just going to be too much for them. And so they actually canceled their event. But yes, the NCAA will be involved in that. There's a variety of different things that everyone's watching. One of them is antigen testing, which is a cheaper test than the genetic stick the swab up your nose test, and it comes back quicker. The question is it reliable? Is it accurate? We're all watching the development of the antigen testing. The other is, can you bill testing back to the parents' insurance? The model in all colleges right now is the primary insurance is the parents' insurance. And so can that relieve some of the expenses in the institutions of testing on a regular basis? So people are exploring lots of different options.
Can you clarify just one thing going back? You said the Big 12 of the 4 conferences playing this fall. You said the Big 12 is playing a full conference schedule this fall. Does that mean they will not play schedule in the spring and then just go to the tournament?
Yeah, that's a question right now that their coaches are dealing with their administrators. Quite obviously for anyone who's in coaching, to finish your last match mid-November and to think your team could be competitive in a championship that starts mid-April is laughable. And so what would their administrators allow them to do, and who would they allow to do it? So, I mean, some of the anxiety among those coaches is, if you finish in the top 3 in the league, you may still have a chance at making an argument that you're going to qualify for an at-large bid. If you finish in the bottom 3, then will they not let you play? And then the second thing is, who will they play if other leagues are doing almost all conference only? So there's a lot of unknowns still in how the championship's going to come together. But I do want to make the point that a month ago, 6 weeks ago, we didn't think there was going to be a championship. We thought we were going to lose the whole thing. And so there is a lot to be grateful for right now in what's happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks, even though as coaches, we move from, okay, whack-a-mole, solve that problem. What's the next problem? And the next problem is, how are the selections going to go? What about the RPI? What kind of chance am I going to have? Those are all real legitimate things, but I don't want us to lose sight of the fact that, the spring sports lost and the winter sports lost their championship completely last year. Now it looks like the fall for Division I volleyball is not gone, and that there's going to be a championship.
Well, great job by you and your group. Yeah.
Many different folks. I say, and I've heard you say it, Mick, and a week ago, people give the AVCA credit, and we'll take some of it, okay, because we are a facilitator of conversations. But the AVCA by itself cannot move things forward. It has to come through coaches talking to their administrators and getting their administrators to carry the message into the meeting rooms, because the AVCA isn't in the meeting rooms either. It's those administrators. And so it's always a group effort.
Okay.
Great. Well,
Now,
Bruce, are we ready to move towards the convention? All right.
Yeah. Okay, Kathy, 38 years of NCAA championships. Oh my God, 38. How many has the AVCA participated in, and why, and what's going to happen now that it's virtual? And I went through the 5 pages and I said, oh my goodness, I'm going to list this stuff: pre-convention seminar, advanced career, club management, learning labs. What the heck is that? Diversity education, men's and boys track, beach track. And I didn't have enough slides to add everything. And the fact is that the dates are the same weekend as the NCAA Final Four, but there's no NCAA Final Four.
Right.
So
Yeah,
please
yeah, we-
walk us
yeah.
through why we should do this, and why do I need a membership? Because of all the different things that I get based on all the virtual learning, all the different types of podcasts. Why don't people know this around the world?
Yeah, yeah. Wow. So how many hours do we have? Did I get to answer that question? Okay. So yeah, so let me just give you a very quick snapshot of who the AVCA is. All right. So the AVCA is funded with only 3 sources. We have no money that comes from student fees or football tickets or television rights fees. I mean, that's kind of a duh. I think you all knew that, but you may not know where our funding comes from. We have 3 primary sources of revenue for 95% of our income. It's membership dues, it's sponsorship payments for people who sell things that they want to get to volleyball coaches, and then it's our convention. Those are the 3 big buckets that produce 95% of the revenue for the AVCA. We're way in tune with the fact right now that people are hurting. Schools are hurting. Coaches have been furloughed. There are people who have lost their jobs. People are registering for convention right now and saying, yeah, I mean, we even had an A5 coach who registered for convention. And I asked her why. And she said, it's critical to do it, to register for convention and to pay for my membership. And I did it myself because my school is not doing it this year. So I don't want anybody out there to feel like, well, the AVCA, man, they just send me all these things where they want my money and do they know how hard it is? Here's some of the things that we have done. We have laid off 2 of our staff people because we weren't able to fund them anymore. Starting October 1 to April 1 for the next 6 months, I'm going into the status of your volunteer coaches. Okay, so I'm going into a no pay status for 6 months. And we're doing all this so that we can be prepared to serve you this convention this spring, and that the AVCA can come out of this pandemic in a way that we can still be a functional coaches association and ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. But to convention. Okay, so virtual convention. We've never done it before, which is terrifying. Okay? When your biggest revenue stream is something you've never done before, okay? It's like, all right, listen, coach, I'm going to renew your contract, but you're going to play with your setter in the left back, okay? So go ahead. And this one match is what your contract's going to be based on. All right. So terrifying and exciting, all right, for us as a staff. All of you have been coaches for many, many, many years, and you know that one of the challenges is to stay fresh, is to stay excited about something that you've done before. And so this forces us into okay, we haven't done this before. How can we learn? We're consuming every webinar out there, every partner association that's doing virtual things. We're consuming it all, trying to see how can we put together a world-class event. We know one thing already. We'll have the strongest program we've ever had. In the 39 years of the AVCA, this will be the best program we've ever had. And coaches here in the Master Coaches Club are all part of it. We've got some international coaches that are going to be part of it. We've got Giovanni Guidetti that's going to be part of it. We've got Lauren Tilley, who's the men's national team coach for an Olympic qualified French team. We've got Julian Velasco, and a very well-known Argentinian coach who is going to be helping us. We've got Mark Lebedew, who used to coach the Olympic team in Australia and is now a club coach in Poland. They have all said, oh, wow, virtual? All right, I'm busy then, but yes, I'll take you into my gym. I'll show you some things. We've also had that kind of response, which is so affirming to us as staff, from the top coaches in the country, the coaches who at this time usually would be playing for a championship and saying, Kathy, yeah, I love you, but I'm making this run here. I'm going to go deep into the tournament. I'm going to be there in the Final Four. I don't want to have to bail out on you at the end. So, Mary Wise, Kevin Hambley, John Cook, Kelly Sheffield, all of the top coaches of the top teams in the country have said, yes, I'm in. I'll help. And what the virtual environment allows us to do, it allows us to go into their gyms. So they're now showing us how they're teaching things with their players, not some 14-year-old who may be great, but probably can't swing block very well, or a professional male player, which we've had the last couple of years, which has been great, but they can do it in their sleep. So now we're getting to see them train their own athletes and run drills that way and give feedback on those drills. And so we're just incredibly excited about the program that we've put together.
Okay, that's great. So the staff, what about the layout and how do they choose? I'm a junior high coach. Should I possibly even register? Because you sound like you're talking about big time coaches that don't know how to really gear it down to junior high.
Yeah. Well, okay, so there will be 100 sessions, and there will be sessions for every level of volleyball. That's what you have on your slide back there, the beach track, the men and boys track. There will be a youth track, but there will be education for every level. And so it's $249 if you're an AVCA member. All right, so $249. There's over 100 sessions. Do the math. $2.49 per session. I mean, where are you going to get the best coaches in the world at that price? And the content is available to you for 30 days afterwards. So if you go, I don't want to spend 100 days, right? Or 100 hours right before Christmas sitting at my computer. Some of you will, I know, because you're that obsessed with the sport, but that's between you and your family. But you have access to this for 30 days after the event. So you can go in and review something if you might have missed it, or you had to choose this session instead of that session. It's all yours. It's all yours after the event for 30 days.
Wow. So you have some free sessions too, though, right?
We took all of the Wednesday programming. We usually charge extra for the Wednesday programming because we have to, we have to pay for another day of the convention center and the presenters and preparation and all that other stuff. But this year, we decided we were going to make Wednesday a free day. So the JVA is doing 5 hours of a club director track. We're doing 2 sessions in our advanced career education track, which is a non-X's and O's. Mm-hmm. One of them is how to make your administrators your partners. And the other one is one that's become so critical to all of our programs. It is about fundraising. And so we're calling it the race for relevance. It's more important now than ever for coaches to make sure that they're relevant here with their administrators. And then the third is our usual offering of the pre-convention seminar, which is Luca Slabe, Karch's assistant coach with the Olympic team, and the new head coach at North Carolina State, who is going to do a deep dive into learning theory and teaching of skills. So, and all those are free. So you sign up for them, and that day is an extra bonus day.
So I've already gotten a chance where I don't even have to worry about my airline ticket. We know I can't get a room, right? Because we don't know what the rooms are. And so I get this at the leisure of my house, and I can sit around with my coaching buddies on Zoom, and we all can probably watch it together because one person can link into the internet and we can all watch it together. Now, how simple is that?
Right. And then what have asked these elite coaches to do, so a Karch Karai, a John Spraw, is when you do a session for us, and so we're in your gym, we're looking at what you're teaching and training, and then will you do what we're calling a learning lab afterwards? So right afterwards, that coach will go into a block of 45 minutes where they'll be in a small group, 25 or so, and it will be an open Q&A. And the reason to register now is because we're tracking when people come in, and we'll allow you to register for those learning labs, those smaller groups. You get first dibs on those based on your registration date. So get in before November 6th to get into those learning labs.
So only 25 lucky people, right?
25 first dibs.
Okay, how about diversity education?
Yeah. So, you know, one of the just terrible, difficult things of this summer has been the heightening of awareness of things, unfortunately, that have been happening from a racial justice standpoint for a long time. It didn't just start happening this summer, but we certainly, with George Floyd's death, Breonna Taylor's death, became much more aware of what was happening to sectors in our community. Our coaches, this touched them. I was on calls that were some of the most emotional calls I've ever been on with our head coaches committees, as they were touched by this, and they were trying to bring it to their teams, trying to talk to their teams about race and what was the ways to do it. They also, and the Big 12 was the one who initiated this, they said, we're putting together a challenge. We need more diversity in volleyball coaching. And so we'll fund a diversity scholarship, a scholarship for a coach of color to come to the convention. This was when the convention was still live. So this year's class will be with us virtually this year, but then be coming to us live in Columbus next year.
So they get this year and next year.
They get this year and next year because this scholarship was funded to fund them to come to convention. And obviously, most of the costs of convention this year, ABCA also always gives free reg. But then we do have to pay for hotel rooms and flights and those kinds of things. And this year we don't have those. So we're getting, you know, a 2-for-1. And college coaches have put in over $33,000 here into this diversity challenge and have funded. I mean, we may have 50 coaches of color that are going to be coming, that are going to be part of our convention this year as award winners. The regions, JVA, USAV, all are sending us diversity scholarship winners and candidates, and we are putting together programming. The idea being, this is the start. We need a bigger, deeper, broader, wider list of coaches of color if we want to expand the opportunities in our sport.
So you would say, okay, look at COVID. There's many challenges it's provided, but look at what COVID has done to create more unity among coaches, and also the want to learn, because you got more time and you got to get on Zoom.
Yeah, I say that in my good days, Ruth. Well said. Okay, there's other things that I say when I walk out of here at night and slam the door, but we don't have to go over those because you're all experiencing them. It's like, why is this so hard, and how can this be happening? But
okay, Nick, I'm going to let you close out. Kathy, fantastic.
Well, thank you, Kathy. That I'm sure if we don't have ABCA, there'd be a lot of car sales dealerships calling. They know you can sell right now. And that's exciting. But
so keep me employed, will you? Here, I'm going to do this. Right. I'm going to do this for 6 months, but I don't want to be the person greeting you on a used car lot. All right, so help me out here, people.
But I do think, and all master coaches absolutely supports this. We absolutely think, no matter what you think about the cost, that we have to support ABCA here. You're going to lose $1 million this year, and you guys are doing everything you can to stay afloat. And we can come up with the money to pay for the convention, to pay for the membership, and everybody needs to do that. And that's the word. But the other thing that I saw in this that I would encourage you guys to do and will help is, I think internationally and all over the world, this is the kind of volleyball experience that could be so special with this virtual convention. There has never been 100 hours of volleyball put on TV, almost all instructional, that I can remember in my entire life in this sport, and that's over 50 years in the volleyball part. And
oh, you're fudging a bit.
Yeah, I heard somebody else cough back there
Okay.
too, so I have to talk to you guys later. But I'm serious, and I would appeal to everyone out there that listens to this, and everybody that we talk to. We're serious about this. This is not just lip service. This is something we have to get done. So thank you for coming on and being so passionate about this. It's certainly, and you're giving up of your salary to help support this and try to keep all of your staff members that you possibly can, because they're all helping provide these services. So thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for hosting this and for giving me the opportunity to share the things we're excited about.
Well,
Thanks, Kath.
Thanks,
exciting
Kathy.
show. Now, Bob, I'm supposed to announce who's coming on next week, but do you have any information for me?
No, as of right now, we have two athletic directors that have indicated that they're interested in doing it. They're going to confirm with me in the next day or two if they're going to be available.
And the exciting part is they've both been on the NC2A committee, volleyball committee. One is has left, and one is still on. And so if we can get these people on next week, we'll delve into even more of this from inside the NCAA committee's standpoint, as much as they're allowed to tell us. Is that right, Bob?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, guys, and Kathy, hey, thank you very much. And we're going to go into our marketing ourselves. So if you don't want to join us, we'll let you get back to.
Oh no, you can come and you can market us too. That'd be good.
Hey, we're just so thankful that you're going to be part of what we're putting together. You all have forgotten more volleyball than most of us ever knew, and your willingness to share it with us is greatly appreciated.
Well,
Thank
if
you
you
all.
think you're scared, you should hear our discussions.
Okay, guys, here we go.
Bye, Kath. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Kathy.
Kathy, thanks.
Thank you, Ken.
Fall Master Coaches virtual clinics are now available to you, your team, or your coaches. Please head over to our Instagram, VB Master Coaches, and click on our bio and click on the virtual clinic link, or you may scan our QR code, and you notice Bob's got his QR code today, and you can find all of our information. A special shout out to our partners, Baden Sports and SNA Sports. Join us next week for Master Coaches Weekly Buzz. On Facebook, Volleyball Master Coaches, Twitter, and Instagram, VB Master Coaches. All of our weekly Buzz shows are on YouTube, and you can access these by going directly to Instagram account. Click the link in our bio and enjoy listening to leaders like Kathy in our sport address current issues and trends. Remember, register by November 6th for the 2020 AVCA convention and save $50 and get that first opportunity to be one of those 25 in those small group learning sessions. Remember, after our host closes our weekly Buzz today, you can stay on Facebook Live and you can hear Buzz reaction for an opportunity to hear and engage in our most recent talks. Now let's go to our host, John Foreman, who will update us on his upcoming coaching conversations.
Well, when I have some conversations to get scheduled, I will let everybody know. Hopefully pretty soon. Like I said, I think this is the last time. Technology is sorted out. Now I just have to work it into the schedule, along with everything else that's going on these days. But as always, that will get posted on social media, Coaching VB for Twitter, Coaching Volleyball on Facebook as on the stream, and also on the website, coachingvb.com.